Yes, sir. Welcome back to another Travel Dive film session. I'm your host of the Travel Dive podcast, Molly Mo, and listen, we here to talk about another Washington dub, man. The Cleveland Browns defense had little to no answers as the game went on against Washington Commanders, Jayden Daniels and Kliff Kingsbury. Another productive output, even with a slow start. And here's the crazy thing. After the film review, I was one of those people who looked at this and said, bro, they could have scored 38 points minimum in the first half alone. Very exciting day for the Commanders offense with the adversity that they faced early in the game. Let's tap into everything. We'll talk about the good. We'll talk about the missed opportunities and just understanding once again that the ceiling of this offense has not been placed on this team yet. This thing can go even further. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, Travel Dive film session up right now. All right, so the first couple plays in itself, I think Washington kind of had to get feeling out of the Browns and just understand how they were going to play certain things. Kliff Kingsbury throughout the day never shied away from RPOs, run pass options, and things like that. But early on, they were very disciplined. The Cleveland Browns were. They had the right things going for them, and actually throughout the day they played the RPO properly. There wasn't much going in this instance. Only when like the hurry ups and people were kind of slacking in terms of being ready at the snap was when Washington was able to get things productively going in those read options. But you see right there, you have your edge crashing down on the running back, and then you automatically have JOK scraping over the top. And Orusa Koromoa is super fast, super quick, right? Andrew Wiley isn't even able to get hands on him. So he's just free along the edge. Jayden Daniels has nothing to do but to go down, get a couple yards, live for another play. All right, so play 3, the next play was a 3rd and 10. In this moment, you'll kind of see like what they're trying to do. Over the middle, you get somebody wide open. This is a man coverage situation, cover 1. Once again, like their first 4 plays or first 5 plays for Cleveland was man coverage. You get a sack here. If you look up front, you'll see Sam Cosmi and Zadarius Smith going to battle. Zadarius wins inside. You get a sack. You'll see Zadarius kind of line up. Well, it moves a little bit too quickly, but right here at the pause, you see him lines up over top of Wiley. So you're talking about like a 4 technique, if not like a shade 5, like slightly outside of Wiley. But he goes inside, wins inside quickly, inside the A gap specifically, and is able to get pressure and a sack on Jayden. So that plays mitigated despite Zach Ertz, right, in this quads alignment, this 4x1 alignment, getting upfield and breaking inside for what would have been a first down. Jayden was looking at him, I think. He just had to hold the ball because he saw that pressure, felt the pressure. Probably didn't want to turn over, so he ate the ball, took a sack. All right, so here is one of the moments in which the tide starts to change in terms of those explosive plays, right? I said the first 5 plays, I mentioned that they were using a lot of man coverage. So eventually you get Washington in a 3rd and 13 situation. Ideally, this is exactly what you want for your Jim Schwartz and your Cleveland Browns defense, right? You get them in a 3rd and long situation, and initially everything is covered up front, and you get a little pressure, right? But Jayden, being Jayden, able to elude, have that pocket presence, makes a play. So, huge play from Terry, huge play from Jayden. But one of the elements of this, obviously you can see De'Ami Brown. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you can see him get open on that dig route, right? But that is irrelevant at this point because of the pressure. So it's not like this is within timing of the play. So now we're talking about scramble drill modes, right? Who's going to get open for my quarterback? And at this moment, let's kind of fast forward now so we can kind of see the other angle. In this moment, you're talking about a cover 3. And when these defenses are preparing for Jayden, they're taking some of the time they're taking these defenders that would be in coverage out of coverage to spy on Jayden. And that's exactly what 30 is doing in the middle of the field right now, that 2nd level guy. All right. So now you kind of leaving your defense stressed. If you wanted to have another person that playing that deep 3rd or roaming somewhere near the middle, maybe you can have somebody that's playing a little bit more deeper, right? But Jayden's able to get out of that. And Jim Schwartz at this moment, right? Excellent play from Jayden. Excellent ability to keep his eyes downfield, not looking to get the ball just to get a couple yards and get out of bounds, right? Like at this point, Jim Schwartz is like, you're going to beat me with your arm or you're not getting out of the pocket and making a play. And he does just that. What helps here right? As we continue to move forward and dissect this play all together, this safety, your single high safety doesn't even get enough depth to begin with, right? His eyes on the quarterback, and zone is typically what you do anyway, but he doesn't have a good feel for the route combinations that's to his right. So that allows Terry to get free anyway. So when he sees that Jayden is alive, he just runs. The safety is nowhere near to defend this. He has no idea that Terry got behind him. He has no idea. So really good play from everybody up front. To really good play from everybody I said up front. Technically, I was looking at Austin Eckler when I said that. But good play from everybody, from the receivers and then Jayden Daniels to really make something shake. Jim Schwartz bet on his defense to force a negative play. Jayden Daniels beat him. All right, so one of the moments where I say Washington could have had at least 38 points in the first half. This is actually stemming from, this is shortly after the deep ball to Terry. You're talking about a moment where this is right before the interception. And you're talking about a moment where Jayden Daniels has an opportunity to hit Zach Ertz for a touchdown. So a lot of people are saying, and even Greg Olsen on the broadcast said Luke McCaffrey was wide open, which he was. I think the problem in the conversation here isn't about Luke McCaffrey, right? It's really just ball placement. He sailed it. That's all it is. And you'll see it on the end zone angle. He just sailed the pass. Zach Ertz got behind the linebacker on the second level. Another spy, mind you. I think that was JOK, if I'm not mistaken. But right here is where you're talking about you just wanted the ball placement to be a little bit better. So it's no ifs, ands, or buts about the processing and the decision. He made the right decision. He saw the guy that he was trying to throw it to. He just sailed it. That should have been a touchdown. And you're talking about 7 instead of 0 because he ultimately turns it over. Speaking of the turnover, so here is what you get in this moment. Now, let's kind of explain it. You get a 2x2 look. Bottom of your screen, Terry, Luke. Top of your screen, Ertz, and maybe Zacchaeus, I believe. Yeah, it is Zacchaeus. You run a spot concept on the boundary side with B-Rob, Zacchaeus, and and Zach Ertz. Now, I don't know exactly what Jayden was thinking pre-snap fully. That's not a criticism. I really just don't know. But pre-snap, he gets the indicator that he's going to look to the boundary side as opposed to looking at the field side, where you do have like a true one-on-one matchup for each of those guys, right? It's just 2 defenders against 2 receivers, as opposed to throwing it to the boundary where it is 3v3, well, technically 4v3, with the single high shading over there to the trip side, right? That leaves the middle of the field open for Terry McLaurin. So when I say I don't know where he was going pre-snap, I would love to know that, because I don't necessarily, if I understand, I don't necessarily blame him for why he took his initial reads to the boundary as opposed to taking his initial read to the field side. Either way, Terry underneath on the slant, they don't pass it off successfully, so he's wide open. But instead we throw a pick to JOK. All right, so as we saw from the last drive, the interception happened, but that was the beginning of the offense kind of opening up for the most part, right? You did have some more mishaps in the first half, as will continue, but for the most part, things such as getting your quarterback on half rolls, just mobility is starting to cause a little bit of problems for the Cleveland Browns altogether. This is a really good pass from Jayden. First off, obviously getting outside the pocket, getting outside of 99. I think that was Zadarius. And now you make this second level throw. Really good placement. You'll see it from the end zone angle. Tough catch from Terry McLaurin, takes a big hit. Dart. Good body control overall from Terry to try and get that on the move and behind him at the same time. That's a really good adjust in this particular moment. As we continue through the same drive, you're talking about a 3rd and 9, I believe this is. And at this point, we know what Kliff and Jayden is planning on doing if you get a 4th and short, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're actually 100%, I think, on 4th down as I talk to this day going into week 6 against the Baltimore Ravens, right? But the setup here is important. This is good processing from Jayden, but also good timing within the play to really get the ball to Ertz to set up a 4th and 2. Ultimately, it is converted. but good processing, good ability to stay on time right here. Solid protection up front for the most part. You know, Myles Garrett does win, but he has to run the arc, which is going to take him a long time to get there, especially if the quarterback is on time in terms of the structure and the play call within itself. So gets the ball out, a win for Brandon Coleman. Simple as that. And as we get to the touchdown for B-Rob, the pre-snap motion influences that second level, but also overall, like this trap wham thing with your offensive line and your tight ends, right? But then obviously the play side seal from Luke McCaffrey. I'm going to show another play right after this, actually, to kind of show the dedication it takes from the receivers to really make perimeter runs work, right? Those second level, third level runs work. If you saw the film session last week against the Arizona Cardinals, you saw one of the plays that I put in there with, I think it was actually Luke McCaffrey, I think, doing something similar as well. But let's kind of watch the influence of the second level with the pre-snap, right? They all flow right. They run your trap wham to the left. B-Rob makes that first defender miss. And that entire time, you got Luke McCaffrey on Denzel Ward, settling for four whole seconds. That's really good competitiveness from Luke McCaffrey to stay engaged that long on the perimeter for a block to help your teammate win. But trap wham is essentially your trap block from your offensive lineman, right? And that is, who was the Allegretti? I'm sorry. Allegretti gets your trap on your 1 technique, and then you get John Bates wham blocking your 3 technique. And when I tell you John Bates, that's a 300-pounder that he putting work on, bro. Pause. That's really good. That's really good. That's really good work. All right. So as I mentioned, there was one moment where the receivers are actually really showing the dedication, the commitment to team winning and making plays for one another, and it shows at his finest with the Austin Ekeler run right here. Now I'm gonna let it run, and hopefully you all see what I'm saying. Obviously he fumbled too, so that's important to kind of notate. Austin Ekeler, he does have those moments throughout his career where he's a fumbler, right? But top of your screen, you get Terry McLaurin put his horses on when he sees that Austin Ekeler takes off. And the level of competitiveness is what I'm saying. The same thing with Luke. You see Terry trying to get that block to help spring Austin Ekeler. But not only does Terry McLaurin get involved, right? Once he gets on his horse, the other receivers get on their horse. And what does that do for everything? This moment in itself, being able to recover the fumble, you don't recover that fumble if nobody's hustling to help out Ekeler. And Ekeler making moves with his quickness, being able to get in the open field and make defenders miss. That's important for any running back. Point blank period. So as we showed that block, and one play before that, I want to show this because when we're talking about leaving points on the board, right, this 18th play of the game, you're talking about first quarter still, right? You're backed up at your 1. When I talked about that middle safety, right, that single high safety playing way too shallow, he did it again. He's open. Zach Ertz is open. He probably doesn't score. Zach Ertz doesn't. Probably gets you about 70 though. He can get you about 70 on this with how open he was. He probably gets you about 70. Am I slicing it? Maybe the third, maybe about 50. I think he'd get you about 50 or 60 on that play. But again, an overthrow from Jayden Daniels. Really good pass protection in this moment. And I think that is important. We've showed it time and time again throughout the first few weeks of the season, how they're able to help out their pass blockers with chip protection. It doesn't matter. I think the most important thing, because sometimes people be itching to get out into their routes, but they clearly are emphasizing the importance of helping out your tackles in these moments because they've done it every single week. It doesn't matter. Before you get on your route, I need you to slow these pass rushers down. These 5 techs, these 7 techs, these edge defenders. Slow them down. One more missed opportunity. This was shown. This one was pretty big. But I don't really fault him in this moment. I think this one, now it's hard to look at this and say it should have been a touchdown. And I agree, it should have been a touchdown, right? But this is also one of those moments where you look at Terry, you look at the situation at hand, right? And it's 3rd down, I believe. I think it's 3rd and 1. And you're already in the red zone. You're trying to reserve the drive, right? Or preserve the drive. And you get your first down. The chain continues to move and things like that. So as he gets outside of the pocket, I'm seeing a person who is first off looking at Zach Ertz, I believe, who's running that corner route, right? And realizes that it's not open. So while Terry McLaurin on the backside does have that block and leak, right? And it works to perfection. At that point, when he gets the pressure, he's just worried about getting the first down. And I think that's what was on his mind. So like critiquing is one thing. But I also think like when we talk about inconsistencies, one of the bigger things with Jayden Daniels, it's just knowing that, you know, he's growing as the weeks move on. When he gets outside of the pocket, he's not always dropping his eyes. His eyes are downfield. You see that on a 66-yarder to Terry. That's important. At the same time, you're talking about a moment where there's times where you wish he does keep his eyes downfield. But I think it's all situational at times and depends on what type of green he has in front of him. If he doesn't have too much green, he may be looking downfield. But if he has enough where he thinks that he can get the first down or help his offense out in terms of keeping the chains moving, keeping positive plays going, those are also instances where I think that, you know, if I'm in trouble, I'm just going to get this yard or two or maybe this 10 yards and keep the chains moving, not worry about nothing else. I mean, it's decisions. It's a lot that's probably going on in his head as well. But you know, you do hope that, you know, you get a touchdown like this for Terry. Like I said, talking about a team who could have had 38 minimum in the first half. All right, so as we close the first half, this is one of those moments. 4th and 3. Make your defender miss. It's probably one of the bigger things with Jayden, obviously, is just knowing exactly what he brings to the table, which is what? Elite mobility, elite pocket presence, and also making defenders or making defenses pay when you do miss your opportunities, right? In this moment, you do have a quick hitter. Kliff Kingsbury did dial it up, had a successful play. Luke McCaffrey underneath. Like, that's part of the thing when you play man coverage defenses. You can run these pick plays. You can run these route combinations that gets you underneath open. You just have to hit them, right? Terry and Jayden connected on a couple of these moments. Luke McCaffrey just missed his moment right here. And ultimately, you know, Jayden still makes the defense pay. But we're talking about a moment where you could have had avoided any type of pressure if you hit that. But, you know, it is what it is. And that's not a critique. More so just understanding what the scheme is and how you're able to defend or play against man coverage, right? Up front, they full slid to the left side to help out against Myles Garrett and get him away from the quarterback, which is good. You get some chip help from, again, OZ and Austin Eckler. But I don't think they accounted for JOK because they probably assumed that JOK was manning up against Austin Eckler. So that leaves him a free rusher. Look out. Look. That's gazelle-like movement, bro. JOK is quick and agile. And he put him on the dirt. Put him in the dirt. But I want this end zone angle because like this was super fun to watch. That stiff arm, bro. Like imagine just going down the sideline getting stiff arm like this by the quarterback and you getting your ass whooped currently. Like it's nothing you can do. You trying to push him out of bounds and you get stiff arm and you like, bruh, we gotta get this guy out the end zone. We can't let him score. They end up scoring. All right, so this was the 2-minute drill where they double dipped. You know, they got the score on the previous possession where Jayden scrambled for 30-something. And they get a stop, come back. Now we're in a 2-minute drill, a true 2-minute drill under like around 1:30 left. And here we go, right? So talking about a 3-by-2 formation now where Zach Ertz drops a pass. But you get a trips on the left side. You get Austin Eckler tight to the formation. And you have Dyami Brown at the bottom of your screen. Dyami Brown wins off rip, right? And this isn't a critique about Jayden missing because his processing on this play was excellent. Zach Ertz missed the football. The timing was really good from Jayden. He saw everything perfectly well. And you would have had a chain mover if Zach Ertz catches that. But they went back to a vertical concept with your boundary and your field receiver. And that's why I show this play. 3 plays later, you get another 3-by-2 look. You get your 2 tight to the formation on the left side. You get a field side receiver. You get a running back that's tight to the formation on the boundary. And then you get Dyami Brown at the bottom of your screen. If you paid attention to the last play, same cornerback, same alignment from your secondary. I think the last one was cover 3. This is man coverage. True man coverage. And Dyami wins again on the boundary. They come right back to it. Jayden hits him. And this is kind of the benefit that you get when you get single high coverages because your boundary and your field side, you have true one-on-ones. And if your receivers are fast enough or good enough at the line of scrimmage and can separate when they get into their route, you get situations like that. All right, so this is kind of the last one I want to show, is just an ode to the running backs. You get a true 13 personnel yet again, right? Terry is the ISO receiver on the boundary side. Pass protection from B-Rob to Austin Eckler to Jeremy McNichols been A1 so far throughout the entire point of the seasons. That's really good for Washington moving forward, because when you do continue to face these guys, such as like a TJ Watt coming up in a couple weeks, you know, that chip help, that pass pro, that max protection, like the things that you can do in this situation is important. So really good help from Austin Eckler, getting a key block to help Jayden Daniels. Not that much pressure. Again, I tell you every single time, his pocket timing, the timing that he has inside of his head, his internal clock, he knows that he has enough time. He doesn't need to escape the pocket. Just make the throw. Understand that you have a true one-on-one, right? Good ball placement. Keep the sticks moving. Wow, I said chicks. Keep the sticks moving. And you see Terry just manipulate that blind spot, right? Accelerate. And as soon as the DB turns his head, break down, come back out for the comeback. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this film session. As you can see, it wasn't pretty early on. There was some rough patches from the way that Cleveland Browns played the Commanders schematically, but also some missed opportunities from the Commanders themselves. Easily could have been a 38-point day in the first half. You're talking about the offense who benched their starters going into the fourth quarter, really. Like, it was that easy of a day, and the defense did the same thing. And I think that's kind of something that you recognize, like the ceiling of this offense has not yet been reached. And that's important to know when you're talking about moments where Jayden is still growing as a passer, still growing as a processor, and he's already good right now. He's good enough right now to win with. And he's an elite athlete, which just puts more stress on the defense, right? So for me, I'm super impressed by how they were able to handle things. I think that when you look at Washington's pass protection, Bobby Johnson is able to put these guys in the right position schematically, but also personnel-wise between Kliff and Bobby. These chips are helping out. Myles Garrett had a donut on the stat sheet altogether. That's in part due to those chip helps, those slide protections, being able to get him away from true one-on-one situations. He had some, but that's going to be the nature of a game. He wasn't doing anything when he had those one-on-ones. It was ball was out. Simple as that. I think Washington was very much aware of that. So really good day from everyone overall. The offense continues to climb and progress, and we'll see where the ceiling does take us. Right now, you're talking about a top 3 offense. Got Baltimore up next. #1 rush defense in the NFL right now. So keep that in mind. But we'll see how they perform against the Baltimore Ravens. That's going to wrap it up for us. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed the content. Also consider becoming a member of this channel if you want to support in that fashion as well. We definitely appreciate that over here on Trapper Dive and the Trappers as well. So that's going to wrap it up for us. Be safe. Until next time. Peace.
Watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trapper Dive.